In your opinion, how do you define the modern Muslim woman?
Okay, so as I was saying earlier, right? So I don't really like the term that's coined like modern Muslim women, because then you're trying to say that to be a modern Muslim woman now, you have to, you know, differentiate yourself from the women back then in the past. But if our definition of modern is someone who's, you know, out there in the business world, climbing the, you know, career ladder, and you know, being very knowledgeable, holding a degree, a PhD, you know, being independent, then, you know, women like Sayyidatina Khadija and Sayyidatina Aisha, these women were at the peak of what, you know, modernism is now. Because you have Sayyidatina Aisha, who was, you know, she was a scholar in her own right. The Sahabas had to go to her, you know, to make sure their facts were right. She was giving them, you know, lectures on, you know, no, this is not what the Prophet did, or this is what the Prophet did. And she was one of them who, you know, had the most number of hadith, like most of the hadith, like the majority of hadith can be, you know, related back to her. And then you have Sayyidatina Khadija, who was, you know, a businesswoman. She was one of the richest traders in Saudi Arabia. And this was a world where, you know, an Arab culture where the men were harsh in, you know, dealing with this kind of men. And she had her own business and it was thriving, you know, and she was a widow, right? Like in this time, if you're a widow, then you have social stigma and all this kind of thing. But at that time, she was a widow, she was rich, and she proposed to the Prophet. It wasn't, you know, she herself, you know, made a proposal to the Prophet. And, you know, so I think what Muslim women need to do is they need to realize to be at that, you know, to be at the level of what they were back then is, I think the first thing that we need to do is to know that women have as much right to this religion as men, right? Because you know, God addressed both of us equally, right? The only differentiation Allah makes is between our piety. That's it, right? It's not our sex that makes a difference. So one is to embody the qualities of the Prophet as much as you can. You know, he was a generous man, he was a knowledgeable man, he was you know, someone who enjoined good and forbid evil. And you know, wherever there was injustice, he made sure he, you know, if it was done upon him, he forgave. But if it was done upon someone else, he made sure that, you know, justice was served. The Muslim women back at that time, they had businesses, they had, you know, they were thriving. So there is no such rules that say, oh, you know, you have to stay at home, you have to be a housewife. I mean, nowhere in the Quran, nowhere in any hadith, it says that a woman's place is at home. You know, this is a concept that the Western, you know, the Western ideology came up with this, a woman's place is at home. But in Islam, this was never taught at all. You can go out and study, and you have a right to education. The Prophet, one of the things that is being emphasized so much in Islam is to seek knowledge, right? And this was not just for men, this was for women as well. And the reason I think why a lot of Muslim women have, you know, they feel oppressed, or the media can, you know, coin this word and say, oh, Muslim women are oppressed, is because our women, I think, not all of them, of course we have, you know, those who are really out there and stuff like that, but not all of them, they are being raised in this, that you know, we have to adhere to what the men say about the religion, right? So we don't take that stand to find out what our religion says about our religion, right? It's always the religion from the men's point of view. And so, you know, I think that's the first thing we should do is really find out what our religion says. And when you do, no other concept, no other religion, no other, you know, I can't think of anything else that can empower women as much as Islam can. And the fact that it is not just, you know, something a popular person said, but the fact that God himself has said, no, this is the rights I give for women, you know, that in itself is a right, you know. Yeah, that's one. And two, you know, like I have my mom and my aunts, they are both niqabis, like, so they wear the burqa, the full burqa. My mom has been a real estate agent for 20 years. When she wore the burqa, people thought that she won't, you know, she's not gonna continue this work anymore because, you know, she's in burqa, no one's gonna, you know, do business with her, like ask her to help transact their homes. I think her business improved after she became, you know, after she wore the burqa, and you know, she had more Chinese clients. In fact, she had more Chinese clients than ever in her 20 years of industry. And you know, it's really this, you know, what you put on yourself. Like, you think, oh, people will be comfortable with me, but that's not true. I have an and she recently started her own social enterprise where she's empowering other single moms and other stay-at-home moms, you know, to help them earn. My aunt, she's also a niqabi, and she's an advocate for, like, you know, women's rights and stuff like that. She has her own company where she, you know, she gives talks and stuff like that. Recently, she just got an award from the minister, you know, with her work in helping women and stuff like that. So, you know, your garb, if you say Islam, you know, oppresses women, it's the furthest thing you can ever say. Because, yeah, like I said, if there's one thing, I don't know, you know, any other I don't know, religious text or anything like that that actually gives women so much rights over themselves, over you know, over the religion. I have no other, yeah, I don't know of any other. So yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, that's it for we call it that a wrap.
So far from you.